Hello and welcome back to the Monsters of Monster Hunter Double Cross, where today, Wrath Week may be over, but we've still got flying wyverns to deal with, so we're moving on to Basarios. So let's go ahead and pick us a good Basarios quest. Gonna be using Striker Charge Blade for this one. And I think we ought to be just fine if I go for some polisher here. Basarios doesn't really scare me that much. After all, it's just a big old rock baby. Don't know why I grabbed a map, but I guess it's there. Okay, so it starts somewhere adjacent to here. Can tell that because the Aptonoths are freaking out. No rock baby here. So it starts in area 6 then. Yep. Basarios is interesting because it starts off trying to hide like that. But, like, there are fake Basarioses in the volcano. And there also were in the Everwood. But the thing is, fake Basarioses have only ever showed up on the edges of areas, while real Basarioses only ever really hide kind of in the middle of an area. Like, if there was more possibility to actually get it wrong, I feel like the hiding would have more value. As is, it's just a kind of cute thing and not really at all impacting gameplay. Though admittedly, it does let you mine the Basarios, provided you've broken its back. Also, the fake Basarios and real ones look very different from one another. So there's that to worry about as well. Thankfully, Basarios is really easy to get rides on because they realized that they made you bounce off of most of its parts, so letting you get those rides to more easily access the other spots is not the worst plan. That's right. It automatically puts the charge into your thing after Chain Saucer. I had forgotten. But hey, I'm sure we did damage. Yes, hello to you too. Basarios is also one of very few monsters who can do both high-grade and low-grade roars. Like, it'll do low-grade roars most of the time during combat, like when you enrage it and when you're riding it. But every once in a while, it'll decide, hey, you know what? Time for a high-grade roar. And there is the back break. So now, if we find it trying to hide again, we can mine it. And I gotta say, the effects on those fireballs that it spits out makes them look like miniature suns. Basarios is also interesting in that I believe it can expel more different types of gas than any other monster. Because, like, Gravios can do sleep and fire. Uragon can do sleep and fire. Like, there's a lot of monsters that can do two different types of gas. But Basarios can do 3. It can do Noxious Poison, it can do Sleep, and it can do Fire. And it also has the distinction of having the smallest severable tail in the entire series. Let's go ahead and over-limit right here. Or rather, limit breaker. Because then we can use a chain saucer, or we can just fail. That's fine too. I don't like Noxious Poison. So I really don't want to stay in for any Noxious Poisonings. So much bouncing. Nice job, Basarios. Roar to you two. See, that was a low-grade roar. Alright, let's get sharpened so that we can use us a really nice energy blade, hopefully right on that tail. Dang it. Just had to be against the load zone, didn't you? If you were further forward, your tail would have been in a nice, easy-to-hit spot. Okay, get out of there. Come over here. Or keep doing that. That's also an option, I guess. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Fine, I'll hit your face. Okay, bye. So I'm actually going to wait a little while before going up there. Even though it is going to lose us our limit breaker. Because I want that dot to show up. Or maybe that doesn't happen. Yeah, that's right. When the Basarios is hiding, the paintball doesn't show up. Ah, dang it. Yeah, if it had stayed under, then we could have mined from it, which is just a silly thing. I don't need anything from it. I just want to show it off because it's possible. Reactive file on the face remover. That's silly. Ow. I need to pay more attention to my health. Dang it. Ow. That actually doesn't really hurt so much. Though it does cover a fairly wide area. So it's not completely harmless. I really want to get an energy blade on that little tail nub. Now seems a good enough chance. I think that hit a tail. Or not a tail, a leg. The things that aren't tails. It saddens me that Basarios' face isn't breakable. Like, look at those two horns on it. Those look super breakable. And yet, there are no breaks to be had on a Basarios face. And I misjudged the length of my weapon. Oh, hey, we got the tail. Not exactly the way I intended to get it, but we got it. And for those not in the know, Basarios is a baby Gravios, or rather a juvenile Gravios. It's just a thing. I honestly think it's kind of silly that they put Basarios and Gravios in together in Double Cross. Like, they could have easily gotten away with just Gravios. I feel like when you're adding Basarios in after low rank, it doesn't really serve much of a purpose. Like, we've already got monsters in this, like, low to mid tier that Basarios occupies. And we've got Gravios having a lot of the same stuff going on, but at a higher tier. So, like, what reason is there to have Basarios? I can't really see it. Ow. Thanks, cat. I really need to get better at being close enough to actually get my files on this thing. Nice try with the hip check there, buddy. Alright, hopefully we can get in here and get our files from that. And then there we go. Oh, paint's worn off. Gotta pay attention. Okay. Thankfully, Basarios is easy enough to follow. So I'm just gonna sharpen, then we'll get on in there. And hopefully that will have taken enough time for the Basarios to hide. Because I want to mine it. Nope. I guess, well, it was hidden. It just hadn't forgotten about us is the thing. And it wasn't sleeping. If it does go to sleep, then we'll get a chance to mine it for sure. So that requires it to survive long enough to go to sleep. Which it might. I don't proclaim to be the best at Charge Blade. I feel acceptably proficient with it. But yeah, I'm far from the world's best with it. That much I know for a fact. Ow. Have fun rolling. Let's not get hit by that. Rar to you too. Ow. Where are you going, buddy? Stopped him from getting away. Though, did throw away those files that we just gained because we just ran out of our limit breaker. Dang it. Why does the leading edge of the wing have to not be a mount zone? There we go. Now we get to give it some belly rubs. With a knife. The best kind of belly rubs. Please don't give anyone belly rubs with knives. I was being facetious. Knife belly rubs are, I would imagine, very unpleasant. I know I wouldn't enjoy one. I find it kind of interesting that in Monster Hunter stories, Basarios and Gravios can both just pop out of eggs, when that is not at all how their relationship to one another works. But I mean, hey, stories has its own gameplay that it needs to have things work for. Oh. And now for some of this action. I'm used to monsters having much larger sleep gas radii than that, Basarios. Though the flame gas, that, I guess, matters some. Just getting sharpened up. Because I want to do more damage with my energy blade. Okay, bye. I'm gonna sneak in there. Yeah. Unless it drops combat, it'll just pop out of the ground every time. So we really do need it to either get to sleep or to kill us. And I'm going to do my best to not let it do the latter. And I mean, really, even if it doesn't happen, it looks exactly like you would expect. It's sitting there underground like it was when we first found it, with those blue cracks exposed. And you just take a pickaxe to the blue cracks, and it looks exactly like taking a pickaxe to anything else. I've got a plan. That was too close. Well, so much for that chain saucer. Of course, it wouldn't have really done much good for me anyway, because my limit breaker just ran out, so I would have lost the files. It just would have been used for its own damage, which I have no idea whether the damage of chain saucer is worth it by itself. Though I know it's a great way to quickly fill up files, so it is good for that. I would love to get a KO, but I'm bad at aiming this thing at monsters that carry themselves like Basarios does. And also it keeps on roaring right before I can get my triple file thing right on his face. Not get ourselves killed here. Well, yes, hello. Hi. Okay, we've gotten a good number of files on the face. Now I need some energy, which thankfully we have got access to. Dang it. Seriously, I'm really, really good at misjudging the reach of my weapons recently. I'm glad that wing doesn't do damage. Little less pleased about the face bouncing white, because you can't go from a bounce into the file moves. Oh, hey. Someone's gonna go take a nap. Does it sleep in 6 or in 7? I think it sleeps in 7. Well, the paint wore off, so that's not gonna help us. Yeah. No nap for us. Actually, you know what? Have some poop. This was not a good time to gather this. Especially because it was just a tear. I was just putting that on the face in hopes of getting a KO. Okay. So much for that chain saucer. Yeah, I think Basarios sleeps in 7, so we might have a chance here. I'm going to go ahead and wait a little while. Give it time to get nice and asleep. Oh. Does it sleep above ground? It must. Could have sworn Basarios has slept underground, but guess not. I don't have any files, and Nahabras are too annoying to try and charge off of. So, I think it's time for the most impressive thing mankind has ever seen. A limit-broken, zero-file energy blade. That was power right there. Oh, hey, we actually got to see a Basarios laser. They don't do that very often, because Basarioses don't always succeed at lasering. So you don't see it very often from them. Gravioses, on the other hand, succeed basically always, so you see it very frequently. Incidentally, lore-wise, Black Gravios is basically the adult form of a Basarios who got into the lava when it was too young to not get charred by it. And thus, the carapace gets blackened, and it has heat regulation problems for the rest of its life. Really not an enviable existence. Let's just go ahead and use some life powders. I've got plenty of extras. Oh. Well done, Basarios. Rolling on a curve. Nice trick. Well, an Aptonoth seems as good a target as any. Or not. Things die too quick. Really? We need all three to just get to the full files? Ooh, the Basarios is underground. Maybe it will be hiding. Oh, it's moved to 2. Well, if we give it a little while, maybe we'll still get to mine it. Just gonna sneak on in there. This really is quite a pretty area. Excellent. It's only safe to go for one mine. It was just Eltalite ore both times, but sometimes you just want to mine it twice. Unfortunately, we won't be able to use Energy Blade while it sleeps. But it's not to say we can't do anything. Sure, it isn't going to be the most effective one we've ever used, but it'll work. Just gonna wait for it to actually get to sleep. Because it's not much of a wake-up if the Basarios is still awake when we do it. All right, let's go. And right here ought to do just fine. Yeah. Not the strongest, but it worked. And there we go. That's Basarios. If you really want to have an easy time with Basarios, just bring aerial style. The thing is a mount magnet. They actually did a pretty good job with the rocky textures on Basarios. The moss growing on it is a little muddy looking in some parts. But like on this front rock, it looks pretty nice. But then on the rocks further back, it gets really stretchy. Yeah, the rocky textures, they did a pretty good job. And the wings are about as good as all the rest of the wings. Yeah. I find it interesting that when a Basarios grows up into a Gravios, it actually loses horns. Seems weird. And isn't that just a beautiful kill screen? Just big red flash. Oh, hey, it was a little one. It was a true rock baby. And that is going to be it for this episode. Join us next time when we take on the adult Gravios. See you then, friends.